Welcome to the DGD podcast. It is Wednesday, September 7th, the year of our Lord 2022. And boy, we have a show for you. First off, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. 49-3. Ring a bell, has a ring to it. 49-3, obviously, Ducks got decimated. There's no question about it. Koby, I'm gonna let you start. We're gonna get straight into this. What was your takes, or what was your takeaway from the Oregon game?
Being there, unbelievable how much red and black, just to start off with, was in the stands. I mean, definitely a lot of Duck fans traveled. Hate it for them, the ones that did. It was a long way for your only touchdown to be the airplane that landed, kind of thing. But it all started from the opening kickoff. I mean, opening kickoff, you kick it to the 2-yard line with Jack Podlesny. You come up, you have Dan Jackson make a tackle inside your own 20. And that just set the tone for how the rest of the game basically went. They had success in a few things that they tried to do when they basically said, we're going to motion and you have one read, Bo Nix, get the ball out quick. And they did that. It was almost like Oregon of old, where they had the jet motions, they threw them quick. But the problem is when you play a team like Georgia, team like Alabama even, sideline to sideline is not your friend. You have got to try to beat us vertically because we're just too fast at every position. And Malachi Stark showed you that vertically we're too fast at that position too now. And that's just kind of how I felt like. Kirby said it in the post-game presser, all love, nothing but love to Dan Lanning. But at each and every position, we had a better athlete across the board. And you're just not winning those games if you're well coached and you have better athletes.
We're already getting our first comment of the day. PETA has been called to Atlanta, Georgia to investigate rough treatment of a flock of Pacific waterfowl. And you already got Juan giggling a little bit, just a little bit though, just a little bit. Juan, I know you had a special moment for yourself personally. You were in California to watch Ashton play for Stanford, but you were able to catch the game, if I'm not mistaken. What was your initial takeaways from the game?
Well, if there was a negative, it would be Georgia had an opportunity for a Patrick special. They were 2 touchdowns away from our 63-3, so they had an opportunity to do that. You score on your first 7 possessions. Just give us, just 2 more. But complete domination. I mean, absolutely, just complete domination from the start of the game to the end of the game. And just like Kirby said, we just have better players. They're trained better. They're physically, they're more talented. But just like we talked about last week, Georgia basically is to a point now where you're either a leader or you're not. And they have a chip on their shoulder. They're tired of hearing we've lost all these players to the draft. And just like I said, last week, they're not going to rebuild. They're going to reload. And they just showed exactly what they could do offensively. It doesn't get any better than 49 points against the number 11 team in the nation. And defensively, they basically said, you know what, we're just going to make sure that Bo Nix does Bo Nix things. He just, or they call him throw picks now. It's one of the things that they say. But, and even special teams, just all around the board. And again, just like Koby said, just the fan support, everybody that came out there. There's a lot of pride when it comes to UGA football. And now we have turned that corner. And all we needed to do was get that first national championship, get that monkey off our back. And now you're going to see a completely different team going all the way through. We had our predictions before, and now it's even more so. They're going to go 12-0, and I think that they're going to beat Alabama in that SEC championship. They're ready, and they're going to get better each and every week.
It's crazy to say that in week 1, Georgia looked like they could go to Atlanta, and I think we saw that, right? Like, we also don't know exactly how much to take away from Oregon. Like, we don't what we did was animal cruelty, but I'm looking at it in a sense of, we have to now see what they look like after the fact, right? Which time will tell. But nonetheless, obviously the AP poll comes out yesterday. Georgia moves up one spot, jumping over Ohio State to 2. What are your thoughts on that? We'll start with Koby first. What were your thoughts on Georgia jumping up to 2?
I think at the end of the day, and I read it on Twitter too, if you were to tell me that you had that Alabama A on the logo with you, if they were returning a quarterback that won them a national championship, if they were returning a top 5 defensive lineman as a top 5 draft pick, all those things, if we were in the same boat, the preseason AP poll would have had Alabama at 1 if they were reigning national champions. And so at some point, I just look at it that there was no reason we shouldn't have been 1. There was a lot of question marks for sure, but at some point, when you're reigning national champions, when you're returning as much as we did, yeah, we lost a lot of the draft, but at some point, we're 1 until proven otherwise. Now, if we'd have come out and played a close game this week, like Ohio State did, or struggled, or looked inept, yes, of course, then week 2, drop you down in the poll a little bit. But I think it's deserving. I think you saw this weekend that it's us, it's Alabama. There's a little gap there. It's Ohio State. And then it really looks like it's everyone else. And
there's it's a sizable gap for that matter after week 1. I know Alabama played Utah State and they won 55-0, which honestly, if they didn't win like that, there's some question there, just considering what Bama is. But, I'm going to let Juan finish as well. But, yeah, there's a sizable gap right now. Juan, what were your takeaways on the AP poll that came out yesterday?
Well, I mean, it's really, what are you looking at? What is, what else do you need? You beat an Oregon team that has your former defensive coordinator, and he has those guys prepared. They were ready. I do believe that they were ready for Georgia, and Georgia just basically just kicked them off the field. And versus a Utah State. Now, to say, would Alabama have beaten Oregon like that? I don't know. But again, you're the defending national champions. Why not have the crown until somebody knocks you off? Historically, just like Koby said, if that were Alabama and they had their returning quarterback coming back, oh, absolutely they'd be. But they don't, and one of the things that Kirk Herbstreit said, and he said this about Stetson, he said this about Georgia, and it makes sense, and we've talked about it. They don't have the fashion, they don't have the bling, they don't have the whatever everybody else is looking at, that Hollywood look when it actually comes to offense or defense. Whereas Alabama has this 5-star quarterback, and they have all of these things. You've got the Nick Sabans, and you got all of these things that make them glamorous. And now you just have the mailman, a blue collar guy that's going out there just delivering mail all over the place. And so that's not what everyone wants to see. And, you still have division amongst Georgia fans, and they're like, oh, well, we'd like somebody else to lead the team, and we want somebody else to be the face of the team. And you've got the perfect person there. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But again, Georgia's not playing for the glam and all that to be loved by everyone. They're playing for themselves. And that's what makes them so dangerous, is they have a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to go out there. And just like Koby said, they're out there breaking people. And that's what they started off doing week 1.
Yeah, obviously my take on the AP poll was I felt like it was justified, right? Ultimately, from the week 1 situation, I was kind of with Koby and what you're saying, Juan. Like, why are we not number 1? But at the same time, I feel like Georgia's been disrespected all offseason anyway. So it was only fitting for them to put us at 3 as a reigning national champion. It made sense, right? It's just, welcome to this. But at the same time, I don't think a lot of people understand this. All offseason, right? All offseason. It's receipt season now, by the way. All offseason, we've heard, oh, they lost too much talent on defense. Stetson, is he really going to be the guy? After week 1, those same people that said it all off season have now backtracked and U-turned so fast. Hey, Georgia's for real. Georgia's nasty. Stetson Bennett could be in New York. Where was that same energy all off season? We tried telling you. We're not going to step off too far defensively. And offensively, that percentage regression is going to get overlapped by the returning talent that we have offensively. Add that with Stetson coming back with a full offseason with the ones. What made you think anything different? So now it's receipt season in the sense that you have guys like Joe Klatt, right? And listen, Joe Klatt in the past has really been a doubter on Stetson. Now you got him sitting there and saying, listen, you can't overlook this guy, right? And while I respect the credit being given, it's just one example of the national media, right? Like after one performance, after what we did, right? We didn't run the ball like a typical Georgia team. You legitimately aired it out as if it was a modern day offense, and you were efficient. You executed about as good as you can possibly get. I want to say he had 6 incompletions. And the key there was I think almost half of them were throwaways, which, by the way, is an excellent point right there, because instead of making something out of nothing, he threw it away to live another down, right? And to me is just key, right? Because prime example, he threw it away on a second. I want to say it was 2nd and 11, gave us 3rd and 11, goes right back to throw it. I want to say like a 12-yard comeback to Marcus Rosemy-Jackson, right? It's the small things like that come with the full season of working with the ones. Let's be honest. And I think it helps him build his confidence, and it changes these things. Listen, outside of that right now, I'm looking at Georgia. Like let Alabama slip up a little bit and struggle against Texas this week, which we're going to talk about later, by the way. Let them slip up somehow if it were to happen, right? Because week 1, there was a ton of different crazy, wild stuff, which another thing I'm going to talk about after this. There's a good chance that you could see by season end Georgia being number 1. I'm saying it's possible. I'm not saying it will be, but it's possible. But I'm with y'all. After this game right here, I have 100% confidence that we're going to go 12-0 and go into Atlanta undefeated and ready to see what happens against Alabama. That's just where I'm at. But there's one thing that I have a problem with this AP poll this week. Did you notice outside the top 10 how drastic changes were? Notably, Oregon falling out of the rankings from 11 and Florida jumping from unranked to 12 after barely beating a Utah team. I find that laughable. Listen, I'm not saying Florida's a bad team, but what have they proven outside of beating a Utah team? Do you really think that it's worth that big of a jump? I don't think so. Listen, I would think you could see him maybe jump right outside of the top 20, maybe, because that is a big match. It was a big win. But to jump to 12, it's just laughable to me. It's just laughable to me. Listen, I would have seen him at 20th, 19th, and been fine with that. I wouldn't have cared. But 12, come on, man. Like, stop playing. You're hyping up Anthony Richardson to be the next coming of fucking Cam Newton. I ain't trying to hear that. He might look good against everybody else, but I'm telling you, when it comes to Georgia's going to eat his damn lunch and look at him and laugh at him while they're doing it. I'm just saying. He going to have a grilled cheese sandwich, and Georgia's going to eat that thing and point at him and laugh. I'm like, you wish you had this, don't you? It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. What were y'all thoughts on the overall AP poll, though?
Yeah, I think I was kind of with you on the Florida move. They were only Utah was only favored by 3 in that game at the Swamp. So, Vegas tells you a lot. Those spreads tell you a lot more than people want to admit that, the money was on it's a tough place to play and no doubt. But at some point, someone who watched that game, Utah goes down twice before the final drive and they're inside, field goal range. And the coach chooses to either go for it or kind of push the program. He's definitely kicking himself this weekend going, well, if I'd have kicked those 2 field goals, we would have had a 3-point lead going into that final drive. All we have to do is milk the clock. We win by 3. We get out of there with a win. It's ugly, but you still win. I agree. At some point, a jump to 12, you still only won by 3 or 6. I don't remember what it was, but
I want to say it was like 4.
It was a big jump.
Yeah.
But we'll see. They still have this stretch of games where, we'll kind of see what they and other teams are made of. They got to play Kentucky. They have to play at Tennessee. They have to play LSU, which doesn't seem like near as hard of a game anymore as it did maybe 7 days ago.
I'm already looking stupid, by the way.
But
stupid.
I think there's a chance they come in 4-2, 5-1 coming into Georgia week. So I'm excited. I mean, at some point, I'm tired of the SEC West. It's the best subdivision in football. It's like I'm ready for the SEC East to be the best subdivision in all of football. I want people to be worried to play Florida, Tennessee.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible this year, Koby. I think it's possible this year that the East could all basically outpower the West. And as crazy as that sounds, to me, it's just not. I think you look at Anthony Richardson, dressing up as Medea here as the 6'3", you say, listen, I'm just saying, the dude is dynamic, right? Whether you give him credit or not, you have to understand that the kid is dynamic. He can throw, he can run, and he's accurate with his throws as well, for what it's worth.
No doubt, but I mean, even Johnny Manziel didn't win them all at Texas A&M. So,
well, of course. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Juan, what are your thoughts on the overall AP poll? I mean, listen, there's 4 East and there's 4 West teams, by the way, in the AP poll this week.
Now, as far as Oregon getting dropped out, I mean, they that was embarrassing. Again, to fly all the way across the country just to kick a field goal, that's terrible. I'm actually okay with Florida with their jump to 12. Utah was actually really, really good. And Utah was coming off of they had a confidence level after playing Ohio State in that bowl game. And so Utah was flying high. And for Florida, with a first-year coach, to come in there and do what they did, that was a pretty tough assignment. None of us gave them a chance. And I actually thought it was going to be an absolute complete blowout. That's how good I thought Utah was. And I actually picked Utah to be one of the Final Four in the college football playoffs, and they could not do it. And it just, a lot of kudos to Napier. I think Napier is going to turn that program around. And just like you said, I think the East is going to be somebody to deal with. As far as anything else in the AP poll, I mean, again, just like Michael said, it doesn't really matter until you get to December. It is truly one of those any given Saturdays outside of Alabama, outside of Georgia. I just think that, it could go either way. Anyway, Notre Dame did not impress me at all. Ohio State did not impress me at all. And so those are going to be some games too. That Ohio State-Michigan game, that's going to be a crazy game that's going to basically come down to who's going to get into the college playoffs, who's going to get that third spot in the college playoffs. Clemson was just absolutely atrocious. I mean, to me, although they the margin was big, I mean, DJ looked terrible. And they made Georgia Tech's defense look like they were pretty good, and they weren't. So again, there's Alabama, there's Georgia, and then there's a huge drop off, and then you have Ohio State, and then there's a big time drop off, and I mean it's tough after that.
I want to do this real fast. We're gonna do a segment real fast. We're gonna go back to talking Georgia here instead of overall. I think what we're going to do here is maybe make a bold prediction here, right, for this Georgia team. I'm looking at it this way right here. After week 1, guys, why would it not surprise me if Mykel Williams leads the team in sacks at the end of the season? we didn't really register a sack this week, but for him to literally get the start in week 1, right? First snap on defense, he gets the start. Listen, for a true freshman against a veteran offensive line, which arguably is probably going to be in the running for a Joe Moore Award at the end of the year potentially, right? They had the preseason expectations to be there. For him to do what he did and hold his own like he did as a freshman, guys, listen, he put a couple times their left guard in a blender, to put it nicely. He put him in a blender. And while he didn't get a sack, against Oregon, listen, it won't surprise me if I'm going to call it now. I think he will lead the team in sacks. The kid's too damn good. Even as a freshman, the kid came in and he already knows what the hell he's doing. Like, it's one thing to be physically gifted, but to have that skill set from a pass rush standpoint, listen, that's brutal for any defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator to look at, because while you have to sit there and put so much attention on Jalen Carter, now you got Mykel Williams. It looks like a second coming of Trayvon Walker, right? And now you have to leave him in one-on-one situations. It's just downright scary to me. So my prediction is I think Mykel Williams will lead the team in sacks by the end of the year. Koby, Juan, do y'all have any bold predictions you would like to make?
So I'm going to keep it real quick. It's going to be in a few parts. First, for you, didn't register a sack. I don't think anybody should be worried about that. I was looking. Bo Nix averaged like 4.3 yards of completion. That's getting the ball out fast. So don't let that statistic scare you. And then as far as just to hit back on something that Juan said with the Clemson thing, a bold prediction like outside of the Dogs, is it's starting to give me a little bit of 2018 Clemson vibes, where they started the old guy for first 4 games, and all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from underneath your feet, and the freshman 5-star, it's his show all of a sudden. Don't be surprised if it happens in Clemson again.
I was about to say, dude, I'm telling you right now, by week 4, K. Klubnik is going to be the guy, because to your point, when you watch that Clemson offense with K. Klubnik in there, I'm telling you right now, that offense looked different. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but something about it just looked different. And that's telling, right? To me, I'm 100% with you on this situation that K. Klubnik's it's literally going to be a Kelly Bryant, Trevor Lawrence situation. And listen, and honestly, if and when they do that, it will project them to the playoffs. Watch.
Yep.
Watch.
A buddy of mine he was at the game. He's not a Georgia Tech or Clemson, but he just had some tickets. And he said that in the stands, even the fans do not care for DJ. They do not care for DJ. They're not a huge DJ fan. You could just kind of tell when you were looking at the sidelines. But when Cade came in the game, there was a roar. You could actually hear it on TV because I asked him about it. He said it was absolutely deafening when he came into the game. And you could just tell the energy that Cade brought. And, and I saw something today where, the coach for Clemson, where Dabo was like, hey, there's been improvement in the, from the quarterback position. No fan, no player, no one that's anything wants to hear there's been improvement from a guy that's been there already 3 years. This is his 3rd year there, and now we're still hearing there's been improvement. No one wants to hear that,
especially with expectations like Clemson. Like,
exactly,
you've brought the situation where Clemson fans have such high expectations, and rightfully so, that just even winning you games handedly, right? Like, if you have the slightest deficiency, they're going to call you out for it, and it's going to get it's going to get hot exponentially faster than you expect.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, listen, even in high school, man, K. Klubnik was a baller, right? There was no question about that. So when you saw Cade going to Clemson, I was like, oh, it's already a matter of time. It's that simple. It's already a matter of time. The clock's ticking.
Yep.
So listen, like I said, I'm calling week 4, because after, I want to say they play Furman and La Tech, and then it's Wake Forest and then NC State, maybe between a bye or whatever. Those 2 games right there are going to matter.
Yep.
And you better play better offensively, because defensively, listen, Clemson's defensive line is straight. Miles Murphy, all those guys, listen, that's straight. But when you have an offense with K. Klubnik, I think can change the like I would guess you could say the aesthetics of the offense, right? Came in even with backups, whatever, and move the ball well, things like that, right? Like that matters to me.
Yeah.
So if you're
that is like, it reminds me of 2019 Georgia, my senior year. You have the number one defense in the country statistically, and you have one of the worst offenses statistically.
Yep.
And
their offensive line has been terrible. Oh, that's the thing with DJU. To me, he even when he lost weight this offseason, like he didn't look comfortable running.
He looked like a deer in the headlights, and that's again. But my buddy said that he's a deer in the headlights, and he just doesn't.
Are you talking about Mr. Pope?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, another guy. Yeah. So it was just not a good look. And again, like I said, they're calling for his head. It's almost like that whole Stetson thing. Stetson can be, playing decent, but they want JT Daniels. But this is a more legitimate, just like Koby talked about. I mean, this is legit. I mean, Cade is going to be the guy. And so you might as well just, go ahead and put him in and let him do it. It's the same thing that, a lot of people don't realize. Same thing that happened with Peyton Manning. Todd Helton, who was an amazing baseball player, he was the starter. And it just got to the point where they were like, Todd, you're going to have to take a seat, bro. And we're going to put Peyton in. He is the future. So Peyton
it worked out well for both guys, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. So it worked out well.
It worked out well for both.
But again, as a coaching staff, you're going to have to make that decision, because no one wants to hear, well, we didn't make the college playoffs, or we didn't win a national championship, but we were loyal and we played DJ. No, those seniors and those guys, just like Koby said, senior year, you have the number one defense and your offense is pathetic. Nobody wants to hear, we're going to stay with this quarterback and stay with this offense. We want a national championship. We want to ride high. We don't want to, we played the right guy and we did all this. No, absolutely not.
Absolutely. Juan, with that being said, do you have any bold predictions to make?
Yes, I do. We are going to see Stetson Bennett in New York in December.
Ooh.
We're going to see, and I'm just going to tell you right now, just based off of that first game, I mean, he did amazing. He got the ball to his weapons, and he's got all kinds of weapons. He's going to distribute the ball. And if you look at it for week one, he had the highest quarterback rating of all the SEC quarterbacks. And so, you've got a Bryce Young that's played against Utah State, and he's got a better quarterback rating versus a number 11 team. Come on, man. He's efficient. He knows what he's doing. He knows when to run. He knows when to throw. He puts them in great situations. And you have to award the best player for your team and the best player in the nation that's going to lead your team to that SEC championship. It's going to be a no-brainer. To say he's going to win it, now that I don't know, but he's going to be sitting there in December.
There is a good chance now, I think, after this right here, that if things continue, you'll see that. Juan, Roots is telling you easy now. He's getting them all randy about December in New York. Stop it. There we go. But nah, so obviously we've talked a little bit about that right there. I'm interested in this game on several occasions, right? We're going from Oregon to Samford here, right? It's going to be a blowout. Should be a blowout. But keep in mind that Samford also, now while Florida's a different team, they went into the swamp and dropped half 100 on Florida last year. And they lost, however. But they were able to do that. Again, that was a different Florida team. And with that being said, it's not Georgia, right? It's not Georgia. If you had to make any predictions on who, say for instance, if we had to do a player of the game, who would your player of the game be for this game upcoming with Samford?
You asking me?
Yeah, open it up.
I would say I would probably go to maybe Eric Gilbert this game. I mean, Eric Gilbert did a great job blocking, but he wasn't necessarily showcased. I think now that they're going to have an opportunity to showcase him a little bit more. We didn't do very much to the tight ends, except Darnell had an amazing play. But if you saw, and the other thing too, I just have to point out, I was an okay Brock Bowers guy. I thought that Brock Bowers was pretty good. But on that first touchdown where Ladd McConkey scored, to see Brock Bowers take his guy and drive him into like the third row, I thought, okay, you know what? I am all in on Brock Bowers. But I do think that, again, so some of these guys are going to get some rest after this game, and then the breakout games are going to be with you're going to have your backup quarterback in, and you're going to have Eric Gilbert really show himself and show who he really is. I think also too, you're going to get some other guys in. Denylon Morset, he'll get an opportunity to get some run, and maybe Oscar Delp. And then when you look at defense, I mean, Malachi Starks, he's a straight man, and I see him getting a couple more.
Stud.
Yeah, and Koby, I hate to say this, but you said it. Koby said that by the time that he leaves Georgia, he believes that he's going to be the number one guy with interceptions, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. He's that good.
I'm going to make a prediction now that you see him start this week. I think he starts. Okay. I mean, and it's not knocking Dan Jackson. Listen, Dan Jackson understands the culture at Georgia. Like I said, Dan Jackson's a damn good safety, but Malachi Starks is just a completely different tier. Like, I'm not saying he's not there yet, like on par with Chris Smith, but by season's end, he'll probably be the best safety we have, even over Chris Smith. And to me, that speaks absolute volumes, not only to Malachi and his ceiling, but Chris Smith is a damn good safety. Dan Jackson is a damn good safety. But when you have a true freshman that could overtake both of them as the best safety, that speaks volumes. Right?
Yeah, that he had was outstanding. I mean,
it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was great. And then again, Chris Smith, the thing I love about him is, unfortunately he gets that bad horse collar penalty, but then shakes it off and then just goes out there and gets a pick. So it's those types of things that that make you elite, and that just say we're just better than you. We can make errors like that and then come back and then make up, for errors that we make. So.
Yep. No, I mean, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. Like is that so? So Juan, to recap this,
Malachi on defense, Eric Gilbert on offense.
Okay. Koby, who's your player of the game, offense and defense?
I definitely gonna be right there with Juan. I'm gonna go a little different, just so we're not all hammering Malachi. Great first game, but it's gonna be a DB, a corner, a safety.
I have a feeling I'm gonna predict this. Kamari Lassiter is probably what you're thinking right now.
Only because if you're Samford, if you look right and see Keely Ringo, and you look left and you see Kamari Lassiter, who are you going to take the shot at? And it's not a knock at Kamari Lassiter. He's just the more unproven corner. And at some point, Samford may throw the ball 50 times. And so you're going to have to either A, get to the quarterback. 1, you're going to see a lot more than 0 sacks this week. 2, you're probably going to see 2 interceptions again. So you just take your pick. Is it going to be Kamari? Are you going to try to push, a safety over the middle? Are you going to, throw it to the tight end and it's going to be a linebacker that catches one? Because last week, we were talking about we dropped 2 interceptions. We easily could have 4 interceptions last week in the
Oregon. Yeah, one went right through Malachi's hand to get that second pick on that goal line. If I'm not mistaken.
And one was right to Tresman, hit him right in the hands and bounced around.
And he tipped it around. Yep.
So give me Kamari Lassiter, give me just a DB in general, and then as far as offense, it's just going to be tough in a game like this game. I like the backup tight end call on player of the game, just because honestly, if everything goes well, halftime is going to be it for the starters. So, I mean,
yeah,
it's just a tough one to call in a game like this. You hope the O-line, to me, if the O-line blocks well, if you run the ball at any point in time for, 6-7 yards, again, it's not going to be a close game, and it shouldn't be. But give me the O-line doesn't give up a sack all game, offensive crew of the game.
Yeah, I'm going to do this right here. So I'm going to start defensively. My player of the game is going to be Mykel Williams. Listen, I just think he eats this time. Listen, you could easily say anybody on that defensive line because, listen, I guarantee you they want to get a sack, period. They want to get a sack. But Mykel Williams, coming off that edge, in my opinion, will do that. And if you slide him in it as a 3-tech like I saw against Oregon, it's a wrap because ain't no guard stopping that. So I'm going to leave that short and sweet. Mykel Williams is going to be the player of the game defensively. Offensively, I'm going a different route here. Everybody goes to the skill positions, running backs, whatever. Give me Tate Ratledge specifically. Because obviously him coming back off of injury last year, or obviously, coming back in, there was a couple times where Oregon's D-line pushed him back, right? You got to welcome back to football moments. That ain't going to happen. So, in my opinion, his play will drastically improve from this week. It will not surprise me to see him pancaking guys all game. I'm not saying anything else about the offensive line because, listen, our offensive line, guys, is elite. Even after week one, there's some room for improvement, but they're going to be elite. And a Joe Moore Award winner calling that here as well. But Tate Ratledge will be my player of the game because he will single-handedly see the drastic improvement from week 1 to week 2. And I guarantee you he'll maul people all game. I wanted to switch it up because it's too easy to go with skill positions, right? You typically look at stats, but sometimes those stats are don't listen. The guys in the trenches can make and break games, as SEC fans know, right? It's all won in the trenches. Give me Tate Ratledge on offense as player of the game. It's just my thoughts. With that being said, though, let's transition over to our week 2 picks. But stick around because after the break, we're going to drop those for you. So stick around. We are back, folks. Ready for week 2, Juan, Koby? Y'all ready for week 1?
Yes, indeed.
All right, so we're gonna recap. We're gonna recap this. It was ugly for me. It was ugly for me. I want to say it was 60%. So we went 6-4. Me and Koby both went 6-4. Juan, you went 8-2, and the Brigade went 9. And now, with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down our week 2 matchups. All right. First off, we got Louisville heading down to the bounce house, UCF. Where do you see this, Koby? Where do you see this going? Who you got?
After watching Louisville last week, I mean, they just got absolutely embarrassed by Syracuse. So give me UCF and give me, Louisville's the fact they have so many recruits committed to Louisville right now just proves what NIL can do for you because they look awful. Give me UCF.
Juan, what say you, sir?
Hey, it's Gus Malzahn, man. Gus Malzahn is tough. He really is. Like he would scare me if we're playing against him. And I'm going UCF all the way. Louisville is just terrible. Or Louisville, as the Kentuckians say.
The Veal.
Yeah.
I've got UCF as well, and so does 83% of the Brigade based off of our Twitter polls. Listen, it's going to be a rout if we see anything similar from week 1 here. I'm just going to let that be, right? Just going to let that be. So we're going to we're going to swing back here, right? So I just want to show you real fast these standings. So we're going to count Brigade. We're going to count Koby, Juan, and myself. So if you're watching here, you have your name. The first numbers are last week's. So you will see so basically starting, next week, next Wednesday, you'll see the numbers change here, right? So Brigade went 9-1 last week, right? For week 1. Juan went 8-2, and Koby and myself both went 6-4. And then obviously the third column here is your total for the season, right? And then obviously the percentage to the right of that. Just want to give it a breakdown, right? Just give a breakdown.
I wanted to say something really quick because Koby and I were kind of laughing at the brigade. We were kind of like, wait a minute, man, something's wrong with the brigade. What in the world are they picking on some of these picks? And then we got outpicked by the brigade. So great job.
Yeah, no doubt. Good, solid week one. Listen, we all got stumped on LSU, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I still got a ball to pick with 0 at West Virginia.
Yeah.
Catch the ball, man. It's right in your hand. Toss too many picks on the podcast.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. You got Colorado heading over to play Air Force and the Fighting Falcons. Koby, who do you got in this matchup?
So I feel bad because I picked Colorado, but then I was looking at everything and everybody's picking Air Force on me. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I haven't been watching Air Force, but I'm going with the Buffaloes of Colorado. But this could be a bad one for me this week.
Juan, who do you have?
Yeah, so I've got two of Ashton's friends, or teammates from last year's state championship team at Buford, went to Colorado. And so you would think that I would go for Colorado, but they are absolutely horrible. I mean, they are just – they got beat last week. And I think by the third shift of Quick Trip, they are really, really bad. So I'm going with Air Force.
I'm an Air Force vet, folks. I'm going Air Force whenever I get a chance, unless it's Georgia. Give me the Air Force. Maybe it's me being stubborn, me and a stubborn old vet. But the brigade went with Koby at 53%, telling you it's going to be a closer game, I think, than people expect it to be. So as you can see here, the brigade at 53% have Colorado bouncing back, right? Listen, they got demolished against TCU at home, by the way. But the brigade thinks that they can beat the Air Force Falcons. We'll see what happens.
Quick shout out to Joel. She was a grandmother this weekend, so she put in there, I'm an elite grandmother as of last weekend. So congratulations, we got a new brigadier.
There it is. Always welcome into the family here. Third matchup, folks. Third matchup here. Baylor going to BYU, ironically here, right? Just coincidentally, Juan. Who do you got?
I've got BYU in this one. BYU's always just they've been tough, and unfortunately for Baylor, BYU's going to have a lot of older guys playing. So, I'm going BYU on this one.
Koby, who you got?
I'm going the opposite. I like what I've seen out of Baylor. Even just the past couple of years, they've just steadily been getting better and better as a program. I like Baylor to beat BYU at home. Close game, but I think the Bears get it done.
Give me Baylor. I think Dave Aranda holds the defense accountable, and they are going to cause problems for BYU, as do 60% of the brigade. I think Baylor will take BYU on the road. All right. With that being said, moving on to our next matchup, in-state rivalry here. Iowa goes to Ames and plays Iowa State. Iowa State versus Iowa. That's going to be interesting. Koby, who you got first?
I will take this pick right on the chin if it is wrong. But after watching Iowa not score an offensive touchdown against San Diego State last week, I'm taking Iowa State because there's no way that they're going to be able to score with Iowa State. I mean, they scored 7 points last week on a field goal and 2 safeties. Give me the side.
You know it's bad. You know it's bad. A bad performance when you make Juan laugh again, because if we're having to recap your performance, just letting y'all folks know. With that being said, Juan, who you got?
Oh, it's easy. I mean, Iowa State all day. I mean, South Dakota State is a pretty good FCS school. I mean, they are. However, we're talking about an Iowa team that went to the Big Ten championship last year. I mean, obviously they got stomped, but they went to the Big Ten championship last year, and you can't score an offensive touchdown against South Dakota State. Come on, man. That's an easy one.
I'm just saying you can do better. Anyways, my pick. I've got Iowa State. No question about it. Brigade, 73%. Iowa State. If we lose, we'll all take this on the chin, like Koby said. Simple as that.
I'd be happy.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next one. Marshall versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame coming off that loss to Ohio State. Koby, who you got?
Notre Dame, I'm with Juan. He was talking about how they looked against Ohio State last week. I was impressed, but not overly impressed kind of thing. I still think they're just a better team than Marshall, though. So give me Notre Dame, but I'm not sold on them yet either. So,
Juan, who you got?
Marshall will get absolutely crushed this weekend. I mean, just absolutely destroyed. Give me Notre Dame.
The curveball of curveballs. Oh, man. I think it's a complete sweep here. 100% of the brigade, every brigadier that voted in this poll has Notre Dame taking Marshall. That's about as easy as you're going to find. All right. It's that simple, folks. Notre Dame will rout Marshall. Sorry, Marshall. It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. Next matchup, folks. This will be interesting. Pitt versus Tennessee. Rematch of last year. Juan, who you got?
Oh, Tennessee. They're gonna roll in this one. I mean, this, again, what Koby was talking about, or I think you or Koby were talking about as far as the SEC East is they're on their way back. And, what better way than to go and dominate any other conference, than to do it, with their own, within the East. So I see Tennessee running that fast break offense. It's going to be tough for Pitt.
Koby, who you got?
Well, I'll be honest. I hope that I told you I picked Tennessee, because looking at it, thinking about it again, I just don't think. I mean, I think Pittsburgh should have lost last week to West Virginia. I mean, they cost us all a pick. I just am not sold on Pitt. It's at Pitt. The coach up there is already in press conferences, has his best Dabo Swinney impression about, us in the little old conference may not be able to handle the big bad SEC. It's like, newsflash for you, you're going to lose by 21 at home.
Yeah.
Oof. Now, you know what? 64% of the brigade says Tennessee, and I also have Tennessee. Listen, sorry, Pitt. I just don't know if you can control that offense of Tennessee. That offense is high-powered and it's potent, and I just don't see it. So I got Tennessee winning big at home, huge at home, probably, to be honest with you, after what I saw there. Next matchup, South Carolina travels to Fayetteville to take on the Hogs. Koby, who you got?
I'm going to ride my man Sam Pittman till he loses one for me. His interview post-game last week, I mean, could there be a better coach for the state of Arkansas, for the school of Arkansas? You beat Cincinnati in a close game, and you just look at the camera and you go, you know what? I think I'm going to go home, have me a cold beer, and call him night. Give me Arkansas.
That is a perfect representation. Hey, not promoting it now.
Hey, not promoting it. I love that.
But I'm happy one.
Yeah.
Man, that just shows you how fun Coach Pittman is. So Koby's got Arkansas. Juan, who you got?
I got Arkansas too. South Carolina was just not impressive to me last week, but I think that Arkansas is riding high. Jefferson is just he's just a big guy. He's gonna lead them down there, and Arkansas is a physical bunch. So I just see them being more physical than South Carolina.
100% of the brigade agrees with y'all guys, and so do I. Arkansas is going to demolish South Carolina's offensive line. South Carolina defensively looked fine, and their special teams looked excellent. But that offensive line is still going to be a problem. It's carrying over from last season. I've got Arkansas by double digits here. No disrespect to Beamer Ball, but sorry, just not there yet. Our next matchup is going to start to get interesting, folks. Kentucky taking on the now 12th ranked Florida Gators in the Swamp. Koby, who you got?
You know, your brain tells you one thing, your heart tells you another thing. I just can't ever pick the orange and blue. You know, do I think looks like they have the better team? Yeah, but give me Kentucky to continue the upsets. Just can't pick Florida. I just can't.
Juan, what say you, sir?
Kentucky, they blew their wad last year, man. They got over the hump. It's just not going to happen this year. Florida's just going to be too physical for them. And I'll be honest with you, Kentucky's offense is not better than Utah's. I mean, Utah has a better offense, better quarterback. No slight against Kentucky's quarterback, but I just don't see Levis being better than Cam Rising, and I just don't see them scoring that many points against Florida. I think Florida holds them off.
Listen, Florida cost me last week, right? I'm trying to win these picks, damn it. Trying to win these picks, man. Listen, the brigade even thinks with Koby here, 61% of the brigade has Kentucky winning. Listen, Chris Rodriguez is out this game. That's going to be the key point right there. Give me Florida, even as much as it irks me to say this. Give me the Gators in this one. I hate to say it. I hate it.
I'll take my loss.
I gotta start thinking with my head, not my heart, though, guys. I'm trying to win this.
Juan.
I'm trying to win these picks. Juan, what is this? What was that?
I'm trying to win these picks. I'm like you. I'm trying to win these picks.
I'm trying to win these picks. Listen, if Florida screws around and loses to Kentucky, and I pick Florida, listen, y'all giving me more fuel to hate y'all. All right, I'm just leaving that there. Moving on though, Alabama traveling to Austin, Texas, probably the game of the week in all seriousness. God, it's going to be an interesting game. Koby, who you got?
I'll tell you right now, and it's just one of those things. And if you're listening to this, you're not going to be able to see me do it. But, big hook 'em horns guy, but just horns down this week is Alabama. The Tide are going to roll. Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers, yeah, the offense is going to be electric. But, man, what are they going to do to stop Alabama? Alabama, I think the line started at 16. Yeah, line started at 16 like last week in Alabama.
It's up to 20 now.
It's already at 20. I think it's going to be at least 24 or more at game time. Tide roll. Bad.
Oh, my God. Juan, what do you got, my man? I think it's –
Yeah, I think a lot of people are not taking into account, Sarkisian is an offensive genius. You've got Quinn Ewers and you've got all that. They can have Sarkisian, Quinn Ewers, Superman, Batman, the entire Hall of Justice, and they're still going to get beat by probably like 30 points. Texas gets absolutely just destroyed. They're going to get
Saban and that crew rolling to town. That's an Avengers level threat.
It's gonna be bad. It's going to be bad.
Noon kickoff doesn't change your mind. Absolutely not. Give me the Tide rolling deep. Rolling to 88%. Apparently some delusional Texas fans trolled the poll, but whatever. 88% of the brigade have Alabama, and so do I. Listen, Bevo going to be running back. He's going to be running away. You're going to be trying to herd this dude for weeks after this ass whipping it. Don't take this ass whipping personally. That's all I'm going to say, folks. Don't.
It's going to be bad.
Listen, it won't. That loss will not define Texas, by the way. I heard Sark say that. Yes, it will. It will never make Texas back again. Listen, USC has yet to be the same. Miami has yet to be the same since they go and play Alabama. Think about that. Texas turn. That's all I'm going to say. And which leads us to the game of the week. for the DGD podcast. The Samford Bulldogs traveling to Sanford Stadium. Trying to say that 3 times fast. Samford traveling to Sanford to play Georgia and the Bulldogs. Yikes. With that being said, Koby, we're going to let you go first, my man. Who you got? And score prediction for this matter.
I got Georgia, obviously. I mean, we're damn good dog podcast here going, but I think I took them 52-3.
You did.
I'm kind of on a hot take that if we really do pull everybody at halftime, I could honestly see Samford scoring. Just weird things happen. I mean, happened with UAB. It happens with other weird games. So give me 52-3, maybe to 10, maybe if they're lucky. But it'll be big difference.
Juan, who you got and score prediction?
A lot of people don't realize that Samford is actually a lot better than what people think. Like you said, they went into Florida last year and scored a lot of points. They actually beat a good Kennesaw State team last week, 27-17. So I really think that it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. So I think with a late score at the at the end, it'll end up being, give me that Patrick special, 63-3.
I think Juan just made Pat giggle. That's all I'm going to say. Listen, there's no question. 90% of the brigade has Georgia winning. Dude, I've got this game 56-0. It's going to be a complete, utter meltdown for Samford. They won't move the ball much. Sorry, but they might move the ball, but it won't be enough to get even close into field goal range, in my opinion. Listen, Brett Thorson got 1 punt last week, 53-yard punt. I don't even see us punting almost. Oh, boy.
Patrick said, I want to know who in the blue hell voted for Sam. Oh, man. Yeah.
You getting told to calm down. That's how you know. That's how you know you got it right there, man. Just going to leave that, though. If you're curious why he's laughing, it's called Make One Laugh Again.
That was
simple
great.
as that. Simple as that, folks. Listen, it's going to be a 4:00 game, SEC Network, right? Listen, expect a blowout, right? But don't stop it from taking you in there. Listen, this will be the first home game as the defending national champions of 2021. So keep that in mind, folks. Go out. I'm sure. Listen, Juan, I think you're going back out to Cali this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. If not, it's alumni weekend for Samford. This is one where we usually try to get back, to go to the game. But yeah, so I'll be out at Stanford again. They play USC, so that's going to be a really, really, really tough game. But if you get an opportunity, get to Athens, get by Alumni Hall, get you some gear. This is a perfect time, a great home game. It should be, you should have some seats available, but hey, this is your opportunity to see the defending national champions who just absolutely obliterated Oregon.
Absolutely. Listen, this is going to wrap this show up. You heard our picks. You heard our predictions, hot takes about the AP poll. Remember, Saturday, 4:00. Tune in to watch the game, SEC Network. Man, oh man, I hope everybody has a good weekend. Koby, as always, pleasure having you on. Juan as well. With that being said, though, guys, let's wrap this thing up. Remember, go check out Alumni Hall, guys. I'm telling you, excellent quality stuff. With that being said, have a great day, rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you back here Monday.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs, baby.